Hey, shalom, shalom, Yasharala. It's the brother Ash Ibad coming back in the spirit, giving all praises to the Most High. Yahweh, Bahashem, Mashiach, Yahushai. Mighty shalom to all you Akim and all you Aquat out there laboring in His truth and fullness and sincerity. And a double honors to y'all brothers, man, pushing the true doctrine across the four winds of the earth in fullness and sincerity as well. So if any of y'all brothers seen the live that I did yesterday, I had to redo it because basically I got some of the dates confused and I didn't want to have the video come up and y'all brothers, get this day and this day. So I just decided I'm gonna just redo that. I'm gonna just redo it from the beginning. So y'all better seen the title, y'all seen the thumbnail. It says keeping the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And the reason why I want to make sure that this video is clear and concise because this is extremely important. Any of you brothers new to the faith, any of you brothers who haven't, celebrated the high holy day, you got to understand how serious this thing is. So I want to make sure y'all brothers get the full understanding because many things happen when it comes to holy days. It's a lot of confusion out there. You got all these different camps and these different congregations and these people from different camps telling you that you got to do the Passover on the full moon. Or, you can tell the new moon is the full moon, or the new moon is the first of the light, or the new moon is what you look at on Google when it's 0%. So, like, if you don't understand what's going on, and if you're just out there and you have no shepherd, you have nobody who can lead you and guide you, that's what's going to happen. The scripture says, smite the shepherd and the sheep shall be scattered. And to be quite honest with you, the reason why it's like that is because we're a group of people. We're a nation that has no true understanding of who we are. And we were designed to be set apart and separated from the heathen. But it's very hard when at the end of the day, we don't have full access to how things are being done in the ancient world. So a lot of times these things, get misconstrued. So, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. Lord willing, I can give you brothers the proper understanding on, how to do these things. So that way it can be a great day for you. This is going to be my second time doing the Passover. First time was beautiful. I congregated with brothers on the Discord and we had a feast and we, read things through the Paleo Hebrew. It was a great, great day. Now, obviously, as time goes on, as, life goes on, it's not going to be the same as it was before. But regardless of whether you in a congregation or you plan to do this with just certain brothers around you, you got to understand how to do it for yourself. Because if you're relying on another man and another woman to tell you how to celebrate the holy days, a lot of times that person can err. Somebody can have a demon on them, and next thing you know, they're profaning the holy day. So you have to be able to know these things on your own. The scriptures say to study to show thyself approved. And one thing that you brothers want to do is 1 Corinthians 14:40. Let all things be done decently and in order. Meaning that if you are a part of a congregation, if you are a part of a brotherhood, if you're a part of a quote unquote a camp, stick to what the camp knows if it's accurate. You see what I'm saying? Because again, you're gonna have a lot of chaos and confusion if you're trying to look on the internet and see everybody and what they're posting. There's a lot of bug outs out there, right? Now, when it comes to holy days, they're all symbolic. They're all spiritually symbolic, meaning that every holy day that we do that was stipulated in the scriptures, whether it be in the Torah or whether it be, the feast of, Purim, whether it's the destruction of Nicanor, and there's another one that I can't remember. It's in the wintertime. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. They all have a spiritual significance because the Most High stipulated these days and they will mean something on the grand scheme of things. Just like when you look at these pagan holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, Valentine's Day. I think right now they're about to have St. Patrick's Day, how they have a lot of spiritual connotation on the left-hand path. Everything that we do as a holy, peculiar nation has a spiritual meaning. So because it's so important for us to follow this, because these are all commandments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, New Moons, Sabbaths, Day of Atonement, Feast of Tabernacles, and the Pentecost. Those are all stipulated in Torah that we have to keep forever and ever. So it's extremely important for y'all brothers to know how to do these things and to prepare yourself because you don't want to be a nigga on Passover. And what do I mean by that? You don't want to be late. You don't want to be ignorant. You don't want to be high. You don't want to be doing things that take you out of the spirit because the Most High is going to be very displeased with you. And no disrespect, but I've seen certain congregations, I've seen certain camps where they was going out and turning up, certain brothers saying, you ain't smoking weed, what you doing? Brothers was It was like they was at like a like they was in a trap, bro. Like they was in a trap in Jacksonville, Florida, where I used to live at, and they would just, they was on that nigga. You know what I'm saying? It was being a nigga. So at the end of the day, y'all brothers want to be reformed in your conduct and how you move and how you move in the truth, because you're not what you used to be. You're not what the vast majority of our people are, which is, just no disrespect, lacking knowledge, right? So let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 2. I'll read verse 1. It says, "A good name is better than precious ointment, in the day of death and the day of one's birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of a man, and the living will lay it to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth." And just so y'all brothers understand, to my knowledge, because I'm doing the Passover in April. To my knowledge, the Passover falls on the same weekend as quote unquote Easter. So a lot of these, fake Israelites, a lot of these people who claim to be in the truth, but they're still in the world, a lot of Christians, they're going to be celebrating for the mother goddess and Tammuz. But, for y'all brothers in the truth, we're going to be celebrating the Passover. And that is a day of mourning. That is a day of reflection into understanding the power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, how he first freed us from our first bondage in Egypt, right? So you can kind of see again the two different spiritual connotations, especially in this time period. If you living in this world, you have nothing to be merry about. We about to have $7 gas prices. We about to have $20 a pound for beef. People about to be laid off. And eventually, bro, in the next few coming years, the economy is going to collapse. You can kind of see it on the horizon. So this is a time for us to be mourning and for us to be doing our diligence to allow the Most High to know that we're truly serious about this, compared to being in a false delusion and I'm picking up Easter eggs and I'm looking for the Easter rabbit and I'm going to a mega church and I think that I just got to call on Jesus. Like, no, it's something way, way, way deeper than that, right? So that's what you brothers need to understand. Now let's go into the spiritual significance of the holy day, right? Because it had a meaning when we first left Egypt, and then it had a meaning when Yahushua HaMashiach was on the scene. So first and foremost, let's start in the book of Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. It states, "And Yahweh spoke unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak you all into the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of the month they shall take them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, and a lamb for a house." And basically, this is just the beginning of the new year. So you brothers understand, we don't celebrate the new year on Janus Day. We celebrate the new year when the renewal of everything starts to come back to life, which is quote unquote, they call it the springtime. But at that time, that's when the new year begins, right? So this is a time for you brothers to be renewed in the spirit. This is a time for you brothers to purge out certain demons, certain shortcomings that you may have had in the old day, and to allow the Most High to truly show you, your heritage and where you really came from and how significant it is, right? Now let's go to I'll read verse 3 again. It says, "Speak you unto all the congregation, saying, The 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goat. You shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening." If any of you brothers who read the scriptures, which is why you want to read from Genesis to Revelation, so you can get the full context of why we do what we do. This is at the time when the Most High told to Moses that he was going to deliver his people. And basically the Most High, he's about to do a bloodbath with Pharaoh and the Egyptians. Yeah, y'all already know the significance, where the Most High sent his son Yahushua, the angel of death, to come and destroy and kill the firstborns of Egypt, and also I think the firstborn of their cattle. So this was a time where the Most High showed us great mercy, and he showed our enemies great destruction. And that blood, the blood was like a marking, meaning that if you sprinkled the blood on your doorpost, if you marked your doorpost, Yahushua knew to pass over you and not afflict that house, right? So it was a type of spiritual protection. And right now in these times with all the things that coming on, you need as much spiritual protection as possible, because especially with you brothers being at the bottom, those gas prices, those food prices, these shortages is going to affect you and me before it affects the Edomites. Even though the Edomites on top, they don't give a damn about any nation. They don't care. They don't even care about themselves. This is going to affect us Jakes first and foremost, because we're the ones doing deliveries. We're the ones with not non-efficient gas cars. We don't have the access to get a Tesla. We don't have credit. We don't have things to sustain ourselves. So as things get worse and worse, we're going to be the first ones affected unless we have the protection, the shield of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. So again, there's nothing new under the sun. The same thing that happened in ancient Egypt is starting to manifest itself in this day. So that's why it's so important for you brothers to keep it, especially right now, because if you forget this, you're basically saying that you don't need spirit, or you don't think that the spiritual protection that the Most High can give you is very important. But at that time period in Egypt, we understood these things, and we took the Lord's word very, very seriously. He was plaguing Egypt with locusts, and the sun was out for 3 days, and it was all type of crazy things going on. So it's about to be the exact same thing. The same plagues that Yahweh hit ancient Egypt, he's going to start to hit this land with the plagues, and you can see it happening more and more every day. So that's why you brothers need that blood, right? So let's go to verse 7. You shall take of the blood and strike it on 2 side posts and on the upper doorposts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roasted with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden it all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs and with the pertinence thereof. You shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning you shall burn with fire. And thus shall you eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste. It is Yahweh's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am Yahweh. And I'll read verse 13 and I'll stop. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. So just to reiterate some things, again, this is all symbolic. So the Passover always falls on a Shalom, bro. Said, is there a specific day that we're supposed to celebrate our new year? Is it on the first day of spring or some other day this month? So So brothers are supposed to celebrate the new moon, bro. So whenever the new moon comes in, that's when you're supposed to have a trumpet, and you're supposed to have a feast to the Lord. You can read about it in I think it's Psalms 51, but you're supposed to celebrate the new moon. I know a lot of brothers don't, but that's how you get an idea of the months. Every first of the month, you're supposed to. Hey, give me 1 second. It's a bug in here. All right, Salaki. So every first of the month, if y'all brothers got a shofar, if you got a ram horn, you're supposed to blow it, and you're supposed to cook a feast unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. So that's how you kind of get it up to date. Now, and shout out to one of the elders named Shema Shawan. He had taught me these things, and I don't congregate with them, but I did learn a lot from them. Basically, a new moon, Salaki, a new year is characterized with 3 things, right? You got the spring equinox, you got the Abib, which is the first month, and then you have the new moon. That's how you're able to know when the new year comes in. And that's why a lot of congregations, they're doing their Passover too early. And I'm going to explain what's going to happen whenever that happens, when you do it too early. So basically, once the new moon comes in for next month, which is going to be, I think it's April 1st, that's when we celebrate the new year, because that's going to be Abib. That's going to be the first month of the year, right? So you brothers, if you're new to that, do your research on it, and make sure you put your dates, put your alerts on your phone. That way you can get a clear understanding of how we're supposed to keep it, because it's supposed to be continuous. I've only been taking this thing serious for about a year and 4 months. So I've never had to do Passovers reoccurring and, know what days fall on which days and things like that. And because we're not a full-blown nation, there's some congregations that get it wrong. But anyways, let me get back into this, right? So it's going to be on the 14th day of the same month, the first month. And obviously we don't actually kill a lamb, because Yahushua Hamashiach was that lamb without blemish. She was that perfect sacrifice unto Yahweh. But verse 7, and they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. And look, you brothers, unless you have your own house, don't put no blood. And honestly, you won't be able to do this because you don't have a lamb without blemish. Don't get no blood and put it on your doorpost or nothing like that. But these are the things that you want to do, right? So you shall eat the flesh in that night. So you brothers want to get lamb, whether it's lamb chops, whether it's lamb with bones in it. And I recommend y'all brothers get it now, because next month, with all the oil prices and the food prices and inflation, it's probably going to be $5, $10 more expensive. When I got the lamb last year, I think it was like $15 a pound. So more than likely, lamb is in short commodity in Babylon. It's probably going to be like $20, $25 a pound. So, you know, realistically, y'all brothers need to save around $50 to make sure you get all these things and you can have enough. Once you brothers get the lamb, this is what you're going to do. You shall roast it with fire. If you brothers have a barbecue, roast it. If you brothers have a pot, a skillet with oil, then you want to roast it, because again, when the lamb was burnt, there was oil on the altar, and they would burn it and sacrifice it as a sweet savor unto the Lord. So you want to have something that's going to allow the flesh to be burnt with a sweet savor. So if you brothers have a barbecue pit and you want to, turn up the grill, or if you brothers have a skillet, you want to put it in the skillet. You want to, and now let me continue to read on. Roast with fire and unleavened bread. So unleavened bread is like tortillas or any bread that doesn't have yeast in it. And with bitter herbs, they shall eat it. And bitter herbs, last year I got, I think I got horseradish. You brothers can get some that tastes like, some vegetables that taste horrible. You can do that. Now, verse 9, it says, eat not of it raw. Now, why don't we eat the lamb raw? Because your life force is in the blood. That's why the Most High stipulated that you shouldn't eat anything like an Edomite. You shouldn't eat anything with blood dripping out of it. And when you brothers have these lamb and there's blood in it, you brothers want to make sure that you cook it to a certain point, to the point where there's no blood throughout. Because if you eating lamb with blood in it, that's going off. Nor sodden at all with water. Now let's look up sodden, so that way y'all brothers understand what that means. Because some brothers might run into this issue, right? So let's look at that definition real quick. All right, let me see. All right, sodden.
Strong's H 1310. Bashal. And the form just below that, Bashal.
Okay. So basically what that means, when you sodden your meat, it means you boil it. Like you put in a pot and you allow it to kind of soften up, and then you kind of bake it and things like that. So your brothers don't want to boil your meat. You want to fry it. You want to burn it. You want to allow it to heat up over like something with a fire, bro. So if you brothers have that, obviously do that. And all y'all brothers got a skillet where you can roast your meat. But getting back to the point, let me go back to the page real quick. So now that you brothers understand that, let me read it right here. It says, and you shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remain of it until the morning you shall burn with fire. So basically, if you brothers have any leftovers, you got to throw it away. You don't want to have no lamb left over in the fridge and, you eating it next day and nothing like that, because that's going on. Even if you spend a lot of money and you have extras, you got to throw it away. That's just the custom. That's a tradition. In verse 11, and thus shall you eat it with your loins girded. So if you brothers got, like me, basically when I first went out to street preach, I got a garment. If you brothers got a garment, or you can get a garment for the Passover, do it. If you brothers don't have the money to get a garment, just get you a t-shirt. Make sure it has some type of fringe on it. You brothers want to rehearse the righteous acts to the best of your ability. So if you can get these things, do it. Again, we're just rehearsing the righteous acts, so things ain't going to be perfect, but this is a very, very important and a great holy day for all of us. So if y'all brothers had the time to do these things, to commemorate the Most High, to commemorate his son, make sure that you make your accommodations now, because you still have some time. And it also says, eat it with your shoes on your feet. So basically, we're going to be dressed up as if we're like not going to the club, but you know what I mean? We about to leave the house, and make sure you eat it in haste, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be simulating what was going on 3,000 years ago. We was literally about to flee. We literally had to be on the run. And that was the first time that we were truly going to be pilgrims on the earth. Because again, all these things are symbolic. So you brothers got to eat it as if you literally about to leave, you know, and run for your life. You know what I'm saying? So you have to eat it in haste. You got to make sure you got your shoes on, your clothes on, and that is Yahweh's Passover. Now, real quick, just so how brothers can tell the time, you know, it's very confusing, and this is gonna be a lot of confusion because sometimes what brothers do, and I had to learn this the hard way. Not learn it the hard way, but there was a video I watched, and don't get it twisted. I'm not saying everything from this congregation is wrong, but I remember I was looking at because I was doing a video for the name of Yahweh and the name of his son Yahweh Shai. And I clicked on a video from GMS, and they were explaining the name. And I was watching the video, and it was they understand the true name of the Most High. But basically, the elder apostle, he said this year the Passover is going to fall in January or February. And y'all brothers can look this up. Look up the name of Yahweh GMS. There's a video where they're on the streets and they're street preaching. But long story short, they're saying how the Passover falls on January. So what's going on right now is everybody had their Passover last month in the Greco-Roman calendar of April. But now you see how certain camps is doing it in March, certain camps is doing it in April. The reason why some camps do not allow that extra allotted month to keep their holy days in the appointed seasons. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Slocky. I think it's in Numbers. Okay, now it's in Exodus. So let me pull that up. Because every holy day is supposed to be at the appointed season. Like the Feast of Tabernacles is always supposed to be around September. The Feast of and then also as well as the blowing of the trumpet, as well as the Feast of Tabernacles, and this the Day of Atonement. You know, so all these holy days are supposed to be synonymous with a specific time of year. If you don't, you know, allow that allotted time to come and you start doing your Passover immediately, your Passover is going to go from April to March to February to January. And you don't want to have a Passover in January because the Passover is always supposed to be around the time of spring. Does that make sense? So let's go to the book of Exodus. We can go to chapter 23. We'll start at verse 15. So just so y'all brothers get this understanding, right? Verse 14, it says, 3 times you shall keep a feast unto me in the year. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread, though thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month of Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me, right? And the feast of harvest, the first fruit of thy labor, which you have sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is the end of the year, when you have gathered in the labor of the field. So basically, I'm reading this to give y'all the context that you're supposed to keep these things at the appointed time. Now, a lot of brothers say, oh, Abib is just this month. But again, all the months are always synonymous. Now, because Esau has destroyed our calendar and changed the days and the times, we're not going to be perfect, and we can't judge another man if he does it on a different day. But if you want to have everything done decently and in order, you brothers got to make sure that you keep your days in the appointed slots, right? You can also get this in Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 1. It says, observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover unto Yahweh. For the month of Abib, Yahweh thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. And then lastly, I want to get this one in, I'll get it a little bit later. So just for context, that's why you brothers see different camps have different days. And that's why there's so much confusion because some brothers choose to do it on that day. Some brothers choose to not do it on that day. All right. Now, when it comes down after you do the Passover, right, that's going to be on the 14th. So let me actually pull that up so y'all brothers can tell the time on when we're supposed to do it. So no disrespect. If you brothers doing it in March, it is what it is. So I'm going to give both timelines. If for those of you brothers who are already doing it, it is what it is. I'm doing it in April. But, you know, at the end of the day, I can't judge another man on that. So I'm going to give y'all both dates. So the new moon for March came March 2nd, right? So basically, the Passover would be on the 16th, which would be the 14th day. So that would actually be next week, Wednesday at evening. Now, again, I'm doing my Passover in April. Now, the new moon came, Salaki, the moon was dark at 1:24 a.m., right? So basically, you would commence the Passover that evening. Now, the way that the dates are set up is very confusing because a Hebrew day starts at sundown, which in April is likely going to be around 7:30, 8 o'clock. But Esau's days starts at 12 a.m. So a lot of times brothers will get confused with the dates and on what day it falls on, because Friday sundown to Saturday sundown is actually a day, but in Esau it's 12 o'clock midnight to 12 o'clock midnight. So whenever you see certain brothers with certain calendars, sometimes they'll show you the date based off of the Hebrew calendar, and other times they'll show you the date based off the Greco-Roman calendar. So you got to be very cognizant and understand that. So because Esau said that the moon came in on April 1st at 1:24 a.m., certain brothers are starting it on March 31st. But once you understand that the new moon is up, then you keep then you keep the new moon, right? So basically the new moon would come in on the evening of April 1st, right? So basically 14 days from April 1st. So, just off the top of my head, that would be the 15th, right? So it'd be 15th at sundown. So basically at sundown, that's when you brothers would do the Passover. He said, I remember celebrating Passover in March last year. I was still knowing the truth at the time. I didn't really have a good understanding of what month was best to celebrate. Was going based off of camp. And that happens a lot, bro. There's a lot of brothers who come into this truth and they don't have the full understanding. They don't study. And at the end of the day, man, not everybody's going to be able to do all these things on their own. I'll just be real with y'all. If y'all with brothers and they're doing it on a certain day, it's probably better for you to do it with brothers if you can't do it on your own, because at the end of the day, the scriptures say, just know that when two or more are gathered in my name, I am there. So when it comes down to things like this, if you have no other choice but to do it with other people because you have no clue what you're doing, do it. But just understand, and that's why you brothers all need to read the Bible for yourself and study for yourself, is because when you put your hands into another man, a man can have a spirit of error. You want to do everything according to what Yahweh Shem Yahushua said. Now, real quick, because we're not perfect and because we're not a nation, because we're not joined as one underneath Yahushua HaMashiach, we're not going to be perfect. And that's why the scriptures say to rehearse the righteous acts. If you're not doing it 100% perfect, in your mind, you can be like, okay, you messing up, but I can't sit here and judge you. There's actually a scripture in Colossians chapter 2. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Give me 1 second. So there's a scripture in Colossians chapter 2 that says, judge no man for his new moons, his Sabbaths, and his holy days. Now, some brothers will, Salaki, I put the wrong page up. Some brothers will use that to justify doing the new moon on a full moon, but a lot of these dudes is agents, if I'm being honest with you. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You're gonna run into that a lot when you in the truth. And that's why we gotta pray we be delivered, man, because we're supposed to keep everything decently and in order for the Most High. But let's go to Colossians chapter 2, verse 16. It says, and let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drinks or in respect of a holy day or the new moon or the Sabbath day. So at the end of the day, if a brother do the holy day on a different day, it is what it is. As long as he's keeping it the way he's supposed to keeping it, he's not going out turning up. He's not going out there, wearing all these symbols for who knows what and throwing up these signs. Then, hey, man, I can't say nothing to him. But if the brother going off and he partying and he not staying in the house, it's supposed to be a holy day for the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and he going out, he turning up, you got to rebuke that brother, man, because that brother's going off and he's suffering sin upon him. And if you don't get the blood off your hands because he's going off, then the Most High is going to allow his blood to be required at your hand. So anyways, man, getting back to the point, whenever you do the new moon, you understand that the Passover falls on the evening of the 15th. So, you brothers already went through how to do that. Now let's go over how to do the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? And again, if y'all brothers got a different day, do what you got to do, bro. I'm not going to go back and forth with which day you doing it and all that, bro, because it's important, but I understand that we not all going to be on one accord. So this is the book of Exodus. So what makes it the case to cause most people to celebrate the holy day in March? So I don't know if you were here. You weren't here earlier, but I was stating how some camps, they don't allow enough allotted time between each month to allow the Passover to fall at the same time. Because again, this last year, the vast majority of people was doing Passover at the end of March, early April, right? Now, I've seen videos from certain camps. I watched certain videos from 4 or 5 years ago, and they said, yeah, the Passover fall in January, which even if we're on a Greco-Roman calendar, everybody knows that January, quote unquote, January is in the wintertime, right? So you're not supposed to be doing the Passover in the wintertime. There's not supposed to be no snow on the ground during the Passover. The Passover is always supposed to be around the time of spring. So you brothers got to remember that. You got to understand that it may not affect you right now, but think about it. If you did your Passover in April this year, right? And then last year in April, right? Then this year you're doing it in March. Then next year you're gonna be doing it what? In February. Then next year you're gonna be doing it in January. And then your Day of Atonement, which is supposed to be around September, is gonna be all the way in July and June. And that's not synchronized, man. That's why I explained it earlier, brother. So if you didn't catch it, catch it on the playback. But you got to make sure that you have everything at its appointed time and its appointed season. So let's go back to the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 14. It says, "And this day shall be unto you for a memorial. You shall keep it a feast to Yahweh through your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. Even the first day shall you put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the seventh, that soul shall be cut off from Israel." So basically, brothers, and I'm gonna get into this right now because last year I actually made a list of all the products that had leaven in it. Let me see if I can pull it up so I can show y'all brothers. I still got it on my iPhone, so let me see if I can pull it up and y'all brothers can see it for yourself. What's going on? For whatever reason, it doesn't let me do it. But basically, I'll type in the items. I'll put them in the chat for y'all brothers, so y'all brothers can get an understanding. You could write this down or whatever. So let's go through them, right? So these are some of the products that have unleavened bread, because basically you brothers have to take all the leaven out of your physical house and also out of your spiritual house or spiritual temple. So wherever you brothers are living, if you're living with your parents, it's your room. If you're living in your house, it's your whole house. And also if you brothers have a car, it's your car as well. Or if you brothers, if you don't got shit, just do what you got to do. Don't have it on your persons, but you got to remove all the leaven out of your actual house and out of your spiritual house. We're going to get into the spiritual aspect later, but these are some of the products that have leaven, and you want to make sure you just throw these things away. Or if you can't throw them away, because things are getting expensive, what you brothers can do is you can just put it somewhere and stash it in a safe place for a week, like last year. And I don't know if we're supposed to do this, but last year, basically, there are some people that I knew who didn't believe. So I took all those things out of my house, I put them in a bag, and I just asked somebody to hold them for me. Now, at the end of the day, brothers, it's just probably best if you just throw them out, because even if they're not in the truth, or if let's say they're Israelites, but they don't know that they're Israelites, you don't want them to do that as well. So again, that was me. That was errors the first time I was doing it. But let's get into it, right? So these are some products with leaven in it. So a main leavening agent is yeast, right? That's what they put in bread to allow it to rise up. So any type of bread, pizza, you brothers can't go to let me think. You brothers can't go to Papa John's. You brothers can't go to Pizza Hut, Domino's, none of that. None of your favorite pizza shops. No Burger Buns, so no McDonald's, no In-N-Out. Y'all understand these things. Pretty self-explanatory. Hot dog buns, no donuts, no Krispy Kreme donuts, no Hawaiian bread rolls, no cakes. No cakes, brothers. No brownies. And for y'all weed heads who might so happen to click on this, no weed. I know, because you're gonna go off twice. You're gonna be eating brownies, which got yeast in it, and you're gonna be getting hot. Which, hey man, it's self-explanatory. So no brownies, no cookies, no cookie dough, nothing like that. No cupcakes, no wheat, and then pretzels as well have yeast in them. So I would recommend all you brothers do this right now. First and foremost, take out your phone, and the day that you plan to do the Passover, set a date, because you got to remember to do this. And then the day before, set a date to remove all leaven from my household, your car, your room, or your actual house if you have a house on your own. That way you don't forget these things, because if any leaven is found in your house, you're going off and either following the Passover. And there's no do-over if you just had negligence and you couldn't do the Passover because you forgot or you wasn't paying attention. There was a brother, when we was on the old Discord, the brother we was telling, Passover, he never showed up on the Bible studies. Passover coming up. And then lo and behold, right after Passover was over, he's like, when was the Passover? And I'm like, dog, You lucky we not in the old days because you would got cut off from the people. Let's say this is the old day. You forgot to do Passover. They would kick you out of Jerusalem. You would be on your own, bro. You would be a deserter. You would be a wanderer. So it's that important. Just because we have grace, we have mercy, don't mean that you get time to just lax. And no disrespect, but there's going to be certain brothers who just not going to take it seriously. They're going to forget. And then the Most High is going to hold that against you because there is no forgiveness of sin if you sin willfully, especially with the blood of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. He died on the cross and you forgot to do Passover. You forgot to take leaven out your damn house, bro. That just shows you don't really care for the Most High or his son if you're not willing to do something so simple. So anyways, continuing on. Waffles have leaven in them. And then also there was a group of products that might or might not have leaven. Now, when you're dealing with something where it's a gray area, I always tell brothers, if it comes to your salvation, you want to avoid it. If there's something in the law, if there's something in the scriptures that's not plainly stated, but in your spirit you feel as if you will be going off and the Most High might judge you, it's just probably best for you to avoid all those things. You see what I'm saying? Just like in the old days when Paul was talking to different followers, there were some people who didn't want to eat any type of meat that was sacrificed unto idols. In their mind, they thought that it was going off. So Paul said, okay, abstain from meat. But again, you can't judge another man if he's eating those same type of meats because that's not what allows you to go off, as long as the meat isn't swine or crab or octopus. But getting back into this main point, because this is going to be a quote-unquote gray area, right? Things that might have it. So you got biscuits, you got pasta, because when you put pasta and you boil it, the pasta, it rises up. Oatmeal is known to have it. And then also some type of beer, they put like a specific type of yeast or a specific type of leavening product. So if the beer is unfiltered, then it could have some type of leaven in it, right? And also alcohol, if it's unfiltered, it could have some leaven. So, this might take a little bit of time, but you brothers want to just sit. And then for these items, you want to research and see if they have some type of products in it. If it doesn't, all praise to the Most High Yahweh, just keep it in your house. But if it does, then you want to throw it out. All right. Now, as far as wine, I'm not 100% sure. And realistically, bro, with wine, let me see if I can give y'all, because you're gonna need wine for the Passover. I forgot about that. Give me 1 second, brothers. So when you brothers get your meal, right? When you have the Passover, you have the lamb, and you also have the unleavened bread, and you have the bitter herbs. Remember, the lamb you can buy it at the store. Unleavened bread, a good unleavened bread would be tortillas. You can look up other ones. I don't know any ones outside of tortillas. And then also you need the bitter herbs, which could be like horseradish. This is the wine that you brothers want to get, right? I get this from Target. Now, this is a fake Jew company, but the wine is kosher wine. So you can get this at Target. What I did is I ordered it around the time of Purim, which was, I think, last month. I ordered like 6 or 7 bottles of wine. It's like $5. And the reason why I ordered them ahead of time, because 1, it tastes fire. But 2, it's also cheap. And I know that these holy days are coming up. And I know that I have to give a drink offering unto Yahweh when I cook my meal. I even drink it on a new moon and things like that. So you brothers, it's like $5, but you want to do it in between the times when the Passover is not going, because the fake Jews, I think they celebrate their Passover this month. I don't know off the top of my head, but if you try to buy these things 2-3 days before Passover, you're not going to be able to get it. So if you order it online, whenever that shipment comes, they'll hold it for you, and you can buy. You want to buy like 4 at a time, because realistically, you probably gonna drink like half the bottle during the Passover. And then during the Holy Convocation days, you're probably going to drink some as well. So get like 3 or 4. It's like $5 a bottle. So that's like $25. The lamb is like $25. The tortillas will be like $5. And then the bitter herbs is like $5. So realistically, it's probably going to cost you around like $60 to get everything. But it's all worth it in the eyes of Yahweh Shemiah Shah. And I know for some of y'all brothers, you're struggling right now. You might think like, damn, that's a lot of money. Well, I remember when I was struggling, I was working this little boo-boo job. And I did these things. And the Most High blessed me, and he watched over me. Because the more you show devotion unto Yahweh, especially on these holy days, the more he's likely, to give you grace and give you mercy. That's why you brothers want to do these things, because the law doesn't save you. Your works don't save you, but they justify your faith. So when you do these things, and you do these things that are pleasing unto Yahweh by Shemiah Shai, you put in a good word for the times that we about to get into. So that's why you brothers want to do these things to the best of your ability. And then also the last thing, when it comes back to the unleavened bread, is also there's different products that have leaven in it. So not just the food, but like, laundry detergent like Tide, dishwashing detergent, like the dishwashing detergent you put in the dishwasher and you run a cycle. Some soaps might have it. Some deodorants, especially the white powder deodorants, have it. And then toothpaste has it as well. So you brothers want to either, like I said, because those things can be expensive. I'm not going to sit here and front you. What you brothers can do is you can get a little box. You can put it in a box for a week and just stash it somewhere. And then once that time period is over, you can bring it back in your house. As far as the food, you probably just have to throw that away. But things like this, brothers don't got money like that. So you want to probably just stash it somewhere outside of your persons. And the main thing is that you don't want to be around these things. That's why if you take it out your house, you can't put it in your trunk because you're going to be around that leaven. You're going to be around those things. And the scriptures stipulate that you can't be around it for that whole period. So realistically, you brothers want to start on Passover, and which will be on the 15th. And then I'm going to get into the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the days that we got to commemorate, right? So verse 15, it says, 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread, even the first day shall you put away leaven out of your house. Whosoever eat leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be a holy convocation, and in the 7th day there shall be a holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. So brothers, understand this. You have the Passover, which is a night thing, right? So it's the night. It's not the entire day. But on the 15th, I think that's a Sabbath, so it's kind of going to coincide with one another. But also the following day, which would be the 16th, that's going to be the start of a holy convocation. Throughout that day, you brothers can't work, you brothers can't buy, you brothers can't sell, you brothers can't do what you would normally do on a Sabbath. The only thing that you brothers can do is that you can cook to prepare the food, right? Because there's two different types of quote unquote Shabbats in the Bible. You got the Shabbat, which is the weekly Sabbath, and then you got the Shabbat Wath, which is a Sabbath for holy days. And the only difference between a Shabbat and a Shabbat Wath is that the Shabbat Wath allows you to, let's say if you got to, wash some dishes in order to cook your food, then you can do that. Or you got to cook the food, then you can do that. But anything outside of that is forbidden. All right. And I'm going to continue on. So it says, there shall be a holy convocation to you, no manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. So again, that would be on that Saturday, and then the 7th day will be the following Friday again. So remember, the Passover is an evening thing, and you got the first day, which is the holy convocation, and then the last day of that whole week is a holy convocation unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So I'll read this right here. It says, and you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in the selfsame day I have brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall you observe this day in your generations by ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. You shall not eat nothing leavened in all your habitations. Shall you eat unleavened bread. So that's pretty much the basis of it. It's pretty simple for you brothers to understand. It's not too difficult. All you brothers, if you don't understand it right now, it's kind of confusing. Get you a notepad, take notes, and make sure you look over this video, or if you follow somebody else who's doing the Passover, make sure you just have these basics down. You make sure you got the lamb, the bitter herbs, the unleavened bread, the wine, and then make sure you take out all the leaven out of your house. Make sure you celebrate the Passover that evening on the 14th. And then the following day is the first day of unleavened bread. And then the 7th day of that calendar week from the first day you did it is the other holy convocation on that day. Now, in between those days, right, you can work, you can do things like that. There's going to be, outside of the Passover, there's going to be an extra, outside of the Sabbath, there's going to be another 5 or 6 days. I think 5 days, because the 7th day is going to fall on the Sabbath anyway. So there's going to be about 5 days where you can still work and buy and sell and do things like that, but you have to eat unleavened bread every day, and you can't eat anything with leaven. So if you brothers is going out in the store and you're thinking about buying stuff, I would probably recommend that you brother just cook all your food that week, because it's muscle memory for us to go off in this flesh. We see some at McDonald's, you know, Esau got pork and everything. He probably got leaven and everything as well. So you brothers probably want to meal prep and make sure that you're not going out and buying things and you get hungry, you buy some pizza, now you just ate leavened bread. Now, and look, if you brothers go off, again, we just rehearsing the righteous acts. And sometimes, bro, it would just be, you be on autopilot so much, you'll just go off, bro. Repent to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. He's looking for effort. He's not looking for perfection. His son is perfect, and none of us are like his son. But we try our best, right? But one thing I want to stipulate, because I know there's going to be certain brothers who's going to run into this, and there's going to be two types of brothers. Because at the end of the day, we Jakes. And what are Jakes? What do we used to be as Jakes? We used to be what? Niggas. So there's some brothers who still got that spirit on them, and I already know that this is going to happen. I already know it happened last year. It's going to happen this year. I already know it's going to happen. All right, so this is the book of Numbers, chapter 9, verse 2. Let the children of Israel also keep the Passover at his appointed season. In the 14th day of this month at evening, you shall keep it in his appointed season, according to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies thereof shall you keep it. Salaki. And Moses spoke unto the children of Israel that they should keep the Passover. And they kept it. And I'm going to go down. I'm going to go to verse 6. It says, and there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, that they could not keep the Passover on that day. And they came before Moses and before Aaron on that day. And those men said unto him, we are defiled by the dead body of a man. Wherefore are we kept back, that we may not offer an offering of Yahweh in his appointed season among the children of Israel? So basically what this is stipulating is that there's going to be certain situations where you aren't going to be able to either celebrate it at the allotted time. You're not, like, example, something may come up, bro. Like, some of y'all brothers got kids. Let's say your kid, Lord forbid, had to go to the hospital. Let's say, you know what I'm saying, you in a horrible position, bro. Like, you out of money. You have no way of doing anything properly. You might have been around a dead body. Somebody might have died in your family, or something crazy happened. You might have had to go out of country and you weren't at your house. You were gone on a work trip and you weren't able to do it on that day. This is what the Most High will allow you to do, right? So it said, let's go to the book of Numbers 9 and 8. And Moses said unto them, stand still, and I will hear what Yahweh will command concerning you. And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if any man of you, of your posterity, shall be unclean by reason of a dead body, or be in a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Passover unto Yahweh. The 14th day of the second month at evening, they shall keep it and eat with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. They shall leave none of it unto the morning, nor break any bone of it. According to all the ordinances of the Passover, they shall keep it. So I want to read, I'm going to stop right there, because this is the first situation. If you brothers can't keep the Passover, you have the opportunity to make it up the following month. Now, if you do that, and the brothers that you congregate with already kept the Passover, don't expect us, or don't expect them to stop what they're doing and to celebrate the Passover with you, because at the end of the day, every man has to study to show themselves approved, and every man has to be accountable for his own actions. So if you brothers miss it, don't expect everybody to stop what they're doing to celebrate the Passover with you. But you do have the opportunity in the second month on the 14th day to do the Passover, and then again, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And if in your soul you know that you're not going to be able to do it right the first time, pray to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua that you can do it the second time, right? And make sure you take notes and just tell the times on your own, because not every brother is going to be telling you the time. Now, you may ask your brother a question. He'll do that, but he's not going to go out of his way to show you a full breakdown on how to keep the Sabbath if he's already kept the Sabbath. Now, this is the other type of dude. If, let's say, example, you brothers is new, you brothers wasn't paying attention, you brothers quite honestly just didn't think it was that serious, and then you end up like the brother from the Discord last year who was like, man, what do I do? I missed the Passover. I mean, first and foremost, you went off, right? Because let's read this. Verse 13. But the man that is clean, meaning the man who could keep the Passover, and is not in a journey, meaning you're in your home, and forbeareth to keep the Passover, even the same soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he brought not the offering of Yahweh in his appointed season. That man shall bear his sin. So at the end of the day, if you didn't keep the Passover, you was cut off from among the people. So if you not taking this seriously and you just so happen not to do it, I mean, brother, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you're just going to have to repent. You're going to have to fast. And you're going to have to literally beg the Most High for mercy, because The Most High is going to give you warnings. He's going to give you people who's going to give you counsel. So if you just so happen to not do it, I mean, bro, you're going to have to just bear your iniquity on Judgment Day, because there's no remission for sins if you already knew what you were supposed to do and you just chose not to do it. You're just being rebellious. And again, the scriptures say rebellion is likened unto witchcraft, and stubbornness unto idolatry. So that's why none of you brothers want to be in that position. But to be quite honest with you, there's going to be certain brothers who just slotted that lot. And also, I want to get into that aspect on why you brothers need to be preparing for this, because I'm not an OG in the truth. I haven't been in the truth for 5-10 years. I mean, shit, 5 years ain't even a lot in the truth. But there's a lot of camps, and there's a damn Satan keep calling my phone, man. I've been doing this live, and I got like 4 calls back to back. That's Satan, man. But anyways, man, one thing that you brothers need to understand is that during this time of the year, a lot of people get cut off from the truth because people don't take the Passover seriously. People think, oh, we get remission of sins. It's not going to be perfect. I'm not even going to do it. A lot of camps been saying how this time of year, people get cut off. You got division. You got strife amongst brothers. Dudes become bug outs. Dudes don't have the spirit on them. So that's why you brothers got to take this seriously. And to be honest with you, you want to come into the new year a renewed man. Just like when you first came into the truth, you had to put off the old man. There's still certain impurities. There's still certain dross. There's still certain contaminated metals in your spirit that the Most High has to purge out. So this is a great opportunity. If y'all brothers been dealing with, lust demon, if y'all brothers been dealing with wrath, it's kind of like the Day of Atonement, where you would write out your transgressions unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and you would reflect on them, and you would ask the Most High for mercy. This isn't the actual Day of Atonement, but it is a great way for you to try to purge out some of the leaven in your mind and in your spirit. If you've been dealing with certain doctrines that you can't understand, if you've been low in the faith, if you've been feeling like you've fallen out, if you've been feeling like you're not the man that you used to be, because brothers got to understand something, man. The truth is like a roller coaster. Yes, you continue to build and build and build, but just like in your life, man, you always have a lot of Hey, give me 1 second. I'm gonna answer your question, Obin. Let me finish this. But getting to this truth, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs. You're going to have a lot of pitfalls. Yes, I'm a lot stronger than I was as a man than when I first started, but I still did some things that I'm not proud of, man. And at the end of the day, I got to bear the iniquity, and I got to bear the indignation of the judgment of Yahweh. It's just that simple. So, this is a perfect time for y'all brothers to look at what you've done throughout the year and kind of see where your weaknesses are. And what you want to do is you want to purge the leaven out of your temple and out of your spiritual temple. So first things first is, this is going to take some reflection. A lot of brothers in this truth, man, they think that they're perfect because they found out they're Israelite, but we all fall short and we all do things that we're not proud of. And no man, I don't know any man, I don't know any man walking on the earth right now who's never fallen short. Only one who never fell short is Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. So this is 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. It says, examine yourself, whether you be in the faith, prove your own selves. Know you not your own selves, how that Yahweh Shah HaMashiach is in you, unless you be reprobates. But I trust that you shall know that we are not reprobates. Now I pray to Yahweh that you do no evil, that we should appear approved, but that you should do that which is honest, though we be as reprobates. And I want to stop there because the main point is to examine yourself. So brothers need to really look and reflect on things, because sometimes you'll have certain delusions and you'll have certain self-righteous thoughts into thinking that what you've done is not bad, when in actuality, you was going off in the eyes of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And there's also one scripture, I think it's in 1 Corinthians 5, where it says, purge out the old leaven. Slocky, give me 1 second. Yeah, 1 Corinthians chapter 5, and I think it's verse 7. All right. It says, I read verse 6. 1 Corinthians 5 and 6. Your glorying is not good. Know you not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? Purge out therefore the old leaven, that you may be a new lump as you are unleavened. For even Hamashiach, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. And I'm going to get into the significance of Yahweh Shah being doing the sacrifice. But one thing you brothers got to understand is that you have some leaven because you got to remember, we're in a spiritually defiled land. We're in the land eating the defiled bread amongst our oppressors. So everything that we do, our bodies, our flesh, it attaches some of these things that are impure in the eyes of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So as you're coming into the new year, you want to purge out those things. And how do you purge them out? Again, the scripture says some of these things cannot come out but by fasting and by praying. So you brothers should be praying without ceasing. you brothers should go on a fast. If you brothers have never done a fast before, perfect opportunity. If you brothers have only done a 1-day fast, you might want to challenge yourself to do 2 days. And I know it sounds crazy, but through the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, you can do it. You can test your limits. You don't know what you can do. And right now, in the time period where we're in, where food is going to be expensive, where you're going to have to start evaluating how much money you have on everything, you need to learn how to fast, bro, because them days you can go in the store and spend $50 on food, that's long gone. And none of you brothers got it like that. Not all of you brothers is broke, but realistically, bro, you're not going to be able to eat 4 or 5 meals a day. You're going to have to learn how to eat 1 meal, 2 meals, 1 meal, 2 meals, and be good. So the only way that you're going to be able to, lose that spirit of gluttony, that spirit of lust, is by purging these things out one by one. So verse 8, it says, therefore, let us keep the feast not with the old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. So, all you brothers, man, around this time, you want to be fasting and you want to be really evaluating yourself so that way you can come into the new year, hitting the ground running. Just like how people in the world, they say, oh, new year, new me. But they do the same, they be saying new year, new me, but then they doing the same wickedness that they did the day before. Now, some people in the world will hit the ground running, but with us being in our new year, we really have to become higher spiritual beings, because just like when you were born as a kid, you had certain pitfalls, and as you got older, you learned not to do them. Then you became a teenager, you were reckless, you were wild, and as an adult, now you're more responsible. As you start to grow in age and in truth, as you become born again, you start to mature. These things that you used to be dealing with, a lot of brothers might deal with alcohol. Some brothers behind the scenes might still be smoking weed every once in a while. It's just a part of the truth. So this is a great opportunity for you to do it outside of just doing it on the Day of Atonement. So all you brothers want to pick some things that you've been dealing with and work on acknowledging them and beating them. You see what I mean? And also, quiet is kept. If some of you brothers have certain people around you who just quite honestly leaven to your spirit, right now might be a good time to cut them off. Because right now, if you're around people who are going to be slowing you down, they're not going to do anything to benefit you, man. And it may be hard to cut off people in the truth, cut off certain friends that you used to have, or cut off people who you quite honestly, your spirits just aren't one. But again, remove the old leaven. Any type of leaven in your spirit is anything that doesn't give you power, love, and might. Anything that goes against what the Most High stipulated and wants you to do, that is leaven unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So it's very important for you brothers to take these things out. Now, the last thing that I wanted to get into the Passover before I'm done is just let me answer your question. You said another question on the evening that we observe Passover. Are we supposed to eat the meal at the beginning of sundown or at the end of sundown going into the following day? So you're supposed to eat it in the evening, meaning you're supposed to eat it when the sun goes down. So once the sun goes down, basically the Hebrew calendar, the evening is the beginning of the day. So once the sun goes down, that is the beginning of the 14th day. So basically you want to eat the meal at sundown. Now, also one thing that I forgot to mention is that if you have brothers that you're congregating with, because I know certain brothers, last year we congregated on Discord. If you have anybody within a driving distance, you should meet up with them and fellowship with them in person. You should do it. You should do it. If you and that brother or that sister are on speaking terms, you don't have any strife, you don't have any type of confusion or anything like that, you should congregate with them. Now, you got to be very careful with that, because if you do decide, I'm going to put my differences past, and you on a Passover and you got beef, you're going to be defiling the Most High's holy day. The worst thing you want to do on a holy day is to have discord. Worst thing you want to do. I remember when we did last year, we did the Feast of Pentecost, man. And then literally like on that same day, we was trying to come together and dudes was plotting against us, man. So that's the worst thing you could do, bro, because that's a slap in the face in the eyes of the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Don't have an evil eye towards your brother on the holy day. So, y'all brothers understand what's going on. Like, be around brothers that you truly have bliss with. It's not no beef, no hard feelings, but it's just if you know in your spirit that you can't be around that person, don't be around them. But if you have brothers that you can fellowship with and there's no ill will, then be with them. Now, if you're in a situation where you can't fellowship with somebody, I personally wouldn't fellowship with somebody in the world. Reason being is because they're not even a true believer. So why would you fellowship with them? How can light fellowship with darkness? So don't tell your family, oh, I'm doing the Passover, come and join me, because they're unclean in the eyes of Yahweh. So he'd rather you be by yourself and be purified than you being around people who are defiled when it comes to celebrating the holy day, right? Now, if you can't meet somebody in person, then obviously brothers got FaceTime, brothers got Instagram, brothers got Discord and all these different things and whatnot. So if you are with a group of brothers, then you want to plan it out. Whoever's on the most Western time, you want to set aside a certain time period where you all can do the commemoration together. Because also one thing you want to do is you want to blow the shofar on that day. And there's certain things that specific congregations would do where they would say certain Hebrew prayers in Paleo Hebrew. Definitely a great thing. So again, if you have access to those things, do that. And just try your best to make it as much as what we used to do in the ancient world today. You see what I mean? So that's what I was going to say. But again, don't do it with somebody that you just not on one accord. Can two be together lest they be agreed? So now I want to get into the aspect of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, because I spoke on how the lamb represented Yahweh Shah being that lamb without blemish. But let me get this real quick. So this is Hebrews chapter 9, verse 11. And this is why we don't have to offer a physical lamb on that sacrifice. I mean, as a sacrifice on that day, right? Let's go to Hebrews chapter 9, and we'll start at verse 9, which was a figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did the service perfect, as pertaining to the conscience, which stood only in meat and drinks, in diverse washings and carnal ordinances opposed on them until the time of Reformation. But Hamashiach, being come a high priest of good things to come, by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building, neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood, we enter into once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us. For the blood of bulls and of goats and the ashes of a heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctified to the purifying of the flesh. How much more shall the blood of Hamashiach, who through the eternal spirit offered himself without spot to the Most High, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God. So the reason why I wanted to read that is because the spiritual significance of having that blood sprinkled upon those who are true believers in Yahweh Shah HaMashiach is why you don't have to offer that lamb and go out there and burn it on the altar, right? So, all praise to the Most High. And for those of you brothers who might be watching this and you are Old Testament only dude, this is what you're missing out, and you're not going to make it. If you have no belief in the Son, you're not going to have a perfect offering for all the sins that you commit on a daily basis. And getting into Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 22, and we'll start at verse 7. It says, then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. And the Passover is who? It's Yahweh Shah. And he sent Peter and John, saying, go and prepare us to the Passover, that we may eat. And they said unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare? And he said unto them, behold, when you are entered into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entereth it. And you shall say unto the good man of the house, the master said unto you, where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he shall show you a large upper room furnished, there make ready. And they went and found as he had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. And when the hour was come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him. And he said unto them, I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of Yahweh. And he took the cup and gave thanks and said, take this and divide it amongst yourself. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of Yahweh shall come. And he took bread and gave thanks and brake it and gave unto them, saying, this is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. Likewise also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you. So that's what the spiritual significance of this, because the Passover in ancient Egypt was when Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai established his reputation as being that terrible, mighty God of Israel, right? But through the New Testament, once Yahweh Shai came on the scene, it was revealed his significance as being the sacrificial lamb for the nation of Israel's sins. And that's why the bread, the unleavened bread, represents his flesh, and the wine represents his blood. Just like in the Christian church, they'll tell you to drink that little grape juice and a little tiny piece of bread. They going off, but even then they kind of understand it, but not really. So now that you brothers fully understand it, it signifies, the 2 times of old, and also it's a foreshadowing of what's to come. Because let's read verse 21. But behold, the hand of him that betrayed me is with me on the table, and truly the Son of Man goeth as it was determined. But woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed. And they begin to inquire among themselves which of them it was that should do this thing. So, also this was symbolic of taking out the leaven amongst the group, because Judas, he had a defiled spirit. He had an impure spirit. So at the end of the day, he had a spirit similar to who? To the Pharisees, to the Sadducees, to the elders. And he was going to sell out, our Lord and Savior. So again, that's why at this time, a lot of brothers who might be agents might be exposed. Hey, that's another thing. A lot of camps who got that spirit of being an agent, the Most High will reveal to him. So all you brothers, man, have a keen eye and look and understand what's going on, because you might get an understanding on who has a spirit of error versus who's truly who Yahweh Basham Shah is truly dealing with on this time. You see what I mean? So also the one thing that the Passover has to represent, which is what time we're coming in, is after the first Passover, what happened? After we had the first Passover, what happened? We left and we fled into the wilderness, right? We fled from what? We fled from Egypt. We went into the wilderness, and we eventually went into the land of Canaan. Now, we went through all types of hell in the wilderness because of our rebellion and our stiff-neckedness and our idolatry. But remember how the scriptures are. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. We'll go to Ezekiel and we'll read chapter 20, because this is going to be a foreshadowing of what's to come. If you don't have that blood sprinkled on your doorpost, on your physical temple, then the Most High is not going to pass over you. And also the Most High is going to allow you to be destroyed. Let's go to the book of Slakia. Where is it at? Ezekiel chapter 20. This is Ezekiel chapter 20. And we'll go to verse 10. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt, and brought them into the wilderness. And I gave them my statutes, and showed them my judgment, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. Moreover, I also gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Yahweh, that I sanctify them. But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, and they despised my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. In my Sabbaths they greatly polluted. Then I said I will pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them. And at this time period, man, brothers, you got to remember, the Most High is waking us up. He's allowing us to live. He's giving us the law, statutes, and commandments. But as we start to go through these different trials and travails in the wilderness, a lot of people is going to forsake the Lord. A lot of people is going to forsake his son. A lot of people are going to lose faith when we're dealing with the affliction. You already see on the horizon what's coming with all these mandates and gas prices, and you got the digital ID coming out and all these things. So you got to be really girded up in this thing. You got to be really girded up in this truth, because things is only going to get much, much harder. And while people are getting woken up, there is going to be a large multitude of people who's going to get picked off, killed, and destroyed, if you're not of the elect. In this verse 35, it says, why read verse 34? And I will bring you out from the people, and I will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith Yahweh. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, purging out that leavened bread. And them that transgress against me, I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am Yahweh. So I want to stop right there, because, again, the Passover signifies that we left the land of Egypt, how the Most High was going to smite Pharaoh with what? He allowed Moses to part the Red Sea. We went through the Red Sea, and then he killed off all the enemies. That's what's going to happen with Mystery Babylon the Great in this time. But also when we go into that wilderness and we're dealing with certain afflictions and things like that, so there's going to be a time period where certain men and certain women is going to be cast off, whether it's spiritually or whether things may happen to them physically. We don't know the Most High's judgment. So be very cognizant. Brothers fast, brothers pray, and take this thing very seriously, because all the holy days of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua are important, but you won't even get a good head on to the year if you're not even celebrating the first holy day that was stipulated in the Torah. So with that being said, I hope this lesson was edifying. I hope you brothers got some understanding. I hope I did my best. I'll give all praises to the Most High Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai, and a strong and mighty shalom to all you Akim and all you Akwathia out there. Until next time, man. Peace.